to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
I am back. I was not back last weekend like I promised, but I am back this weekend. It is Sunday afternoon, and I am tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And if my voice sounds a little funny today, if it's a little stuffy, it's been kind of a miserable 2 or 3 days for me as far as my allergies are concerned. We are smack dab in the, and I know lots of places are, but we are smack dab in the middle. Idaho is in the middle of their fire season. I think at the last count, and I'm sure that more have popped up since then, but I know like a week ago there was like 17 fires in the state of Idaho, and we'd been staying pretty smoke-free as far as, I don't know if the wind currents were just right, blowing that smoke away from us, but then we've had, in like 2 days, we had a fire really close to us next to the interstate, then 2 more just down the interstate, and they just bombarded this place with smoke. And I've got allergies anyway, but that smoke just drives me absolutely nuts. I'm more info than you want, but I'm walking around, just carrying rolls of toilet paper around with me in the house. It was absolutely miserable, and it's a lot better today, but it's still out there. So if I sound a little coffee, little hacky, something like that, it's because of this darn smoke. So today would be 9/11. I know a lot of places are putting on events in remembrance, and I haven't posted anything really. I don't think I've posted anything on the Patriot Defense Facebook page today, and I know there's a lot of places that will post like big remembrance posts or pictures, and I typically, sometimes maybe I do, but I typically don't do that. I just kind of like let them pass by, and I'll probably try to remain kind of silent on the Facebook page today, and that's just kind of, I guess, what I do in remembrance of that stuff. I know locally here we have what we call the Prime Bridge. It stretches across the Snake River Canyon, and it's actually just up where Evel Knievel tried to, many years ago back in the 70s, tried to jump the canyon in his rocket-powered motorcycle and failed. But it's a great big canyon with Snake River at the bottom of it, and they actually have hung a ginormous flag, American flag, off the bridge, and they had a bunch of flyovers, and they have like a little a remembrance event down there today. And I didn't go. There's just a lot of people, but I saw the pictures on Facebook, and I was actually out there early this morning doing my run. They hadn't unfurled the flag yet, but I saw it hanging out there. Pretty impressive. So, take time to remember, just take to remember those that lost their lives on that day. I vividly, I can remember exactly where I was and what I was doing that day. I had picked up my family, and we had just actually moved. I originally am from Oregon, Eastern Oregon, and I had moved here when I was a kid, and graduated high school and got married and lived here for a while. And then my parents had moved back to Oregon, and they lived kind of over. They were just in from the coast, kind of over by Salem, a little town called Dallas. Now, not the Dalles, but Dallas, like in Texas, but this is in Oregon. And there's another little town over there called Monmouth, and they lived over there. And we had just most recently, I was kind of in between jobs, and I'm kind of looking for a fresh start. So we picked up the family, I picked up the family, and we headed up there, and we crashed with them for about a year or so. And I remember I was starting my new job like the next day, and I think I was still unpacking the U-Haul or a trailer or something, and I woke up that morning, had a lot to do, had a lot to unpack, and then this started happening. And I remember, I can't remember the guy's name now. Oh, I do. I remember seeing it on TV, early in the morning. We were all just gathered around the news, watching all this stuff take place, just kind of like just kind of numb, right? I mean, we just couldn't believe it. We were kind of like, in shock. Like we had never expected this to happen here. Pretty crazy stuff. I mean, the TV stayed on straight, was on straight for like 4 days, I think, watching the news, watching everything. And that morning that it happened, I still had to get some stuff done because I did have to go to work the next day. So I went out and we just saw the first couple videos and the news on it. It was still kind of ongoing, and I went outside and I turned on the radio, and I found Howard Stern, and he had his radio offices there, studios there, and they were like watching it, like out the window, and it was absolutely fascinating to listen to it. It's kind of like, it was almost better than the news, right? You weren't getting the newcaster's view of things; you were getting someone else's view. They were right there watching it, right? Fantastic. And then you could tune over to Glenn Beck and listen to his program as well. And I remember doing that, and just a day I'll never forget. And interesting fact, I heard him talking about this on the radio the other day, that anyone that's in school, like K through 12, they were all like, none of them were. I think he said like none of them would have been born. And so, I mean, it is history to them, kind of like different things that happened before I was born, right? I mean, that's history to me. It happened. Maybe it wasn't so real to me, but it did happen, but I didn't live it. I didn't live through it. And this is one of those things, I lived through, just kind of like when the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded. I remember watching that as well. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think about that, and just take a minute, think about those people that lost their lives, and just kind of in remembrance. So anyhow, we will jump to something else, a little more, I guess that's important, but we'll jump to something else, maybe a little more upbeat. I had a class yesterday. It was just a permit class, like almost like any other permit class, and except for the fact that I actually loaded up my tables, I loaded up all my guns, my ammo, my computer, all my teaching stuff, my classroom stuff. I made portable target stands, took the uprights, took all that stuff with me, loaded it in the back of my truck, and I once again was actually invited to come and do this, asked to come do this about 3 months ago. But I got to go out to a little town in Owyhee County, it's in Idaho, called Three Creek. And I went out there about 5 or 6 years ago, pretty neat situation. A friend of mine, just a big ranching community out there. It's not really a town. It's like Three Creek is kind of a town, but there's all these ranches everywhere. There's no stores, there's no gas stations, there's nothing like that. But there is a one-room schoolhouse, and I got invited out there about 5 or 6 years ago. A friend of mine that I graduated with, his family ranches out there, and so now he obviously ranches out there as well. He called me up, and his kids were going to the school out there, and he was on the school. I don't know if it's a school board or what his position is out there with the school, but everyone's very involved in their community out there. You kind of have to be, because pretty much that's it. They are the community. And I went out, and there's a thing in Idaho that talks about what they call a federal blanket law, and a federal blanket law covers Idaho schools K through 12. And I've talked about this before, but that law says that you can't carry any firearms on the property or anything like that, and unless the school board volunteers to change it. And if you can convince the school board to change it, they can change it, and they can write it into their bylaws. And that's a little tiny schoolhouse out there, and it's like, it's a one-room schoolhouse, and they are, I want to say it took me about an hour and a half to get there. And so if there's no deputies in the area, like range deputies, sheriff's deputies out there, in that area, because it's a huge area out there in the desert, they're on a good day, they're probably 30 or 40 minutes, right, from someone actually getting there, running code, going over the speed limit, running out to the school if someone needs something. I know I was on search and rescue before, years and years ago, and we'd have calls and stuff. We'd have to go out there, and it took a while to get out there, right? And if you're running lights, you can get out there relatively quickly. But I mean, still, anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. So they're on their own, and they definitely had to come up with a system. And one of the things they put into place was they voted to allow firearms on the school. Like I said, it's a one-room schoolhouse. They have a handful of kids there. They want to protect them, and it's not far-fetched that being that far out, someone could just show up and do something. I mean, we've seen it happen. Schools out in the middle of nowhere, it's becoming more and more commonplace, these shooters and active shooters in schools. But they went ahead and 5 or 6 years ago they had already kind of done it, but with my help, I kind of helped in some of the training aspect of it. They went ahead and changed that in their bylaws to allow people to carry firearms, and the teachers could carry firearms out there. What a fantastic thing. And so I was invited out to go over give the Idaho enhanced permit class out there 5 or 6 years ago. And so I went out there and did that. And after that, they had me come back out for what they call a little bit of, they called it Alice training. And we just kind of went over the school. It was kind of Alice type stuff, I guess. And I walked around the school, them and one of the Owyhee County sheriff's deputies made it out there. I think he was mostly out there just to see what I was doing in his neck of the woods, since I was at his school. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there, but that's the attitude I got. But I went out there and I helped. We walked around. We discussed, all the ins and outs of their school and what doors are open, what doors are locked, what kind of security measures do they have in place. And we helped them kind of create a plan, set up, drills for the kids, all that stuff. So we did that, like I said, 5 or 6 years ago. Well, since then, there's been a teacher change, right? And so they called me up and invited me back out there to do another permit class for those that still needed their permits. And so that's what I did yesterday. And I have always loved that area. And not only did I do a permit class out there, but I also did a little bit of Alice training with the teachers that are out there. And we talked about the same kind of stuff, and we kind of updated their plans and got everyone on the same page, and and looked at and examined new ideas and new systems that could be put in place. And so what a great thing to do. I enjoy it so much. I love to go out there. I go out any chance I get. And if you're not from the area, or maybe I know, even though there's some listeners here, right, that they live in a more, it's not a rural area. They live in the city, like they live in a huge metro area, metropolitan area, right? And that happens, and people aren't used to being somewhere where there's no people. Out there, it's just a special place, man. I mean, you're just out there in the high desert. You got ranches, you do got some greenery, you get up high, you got the pine trees, you got the quaking aspens. It's just absolutely beautiful out there. And one of my favorite things to do when I go out there is I'll even when I'm just driving out there, I'll stop, I'll shut my vehicle off, shut the radio off, everything, and just get out and stand there and be as quiet as I can. Just stand there, and I don't make a noise. I just stand there and be absolutely silent. And as I see, that was kind of a little showmanship on my part. See there, theater of the mind. You're just silent right there. You like what I did there. But I stand there and I just listen, and you listen to the wind, and you listen to it rustle in the grass, or you listen to the hawks or the eagles, screeching as they fly over. And I'm not even saying that to add flair to it. I mean, that's what you're hearing out there, and you feel like you are the last person on the planet. You look around, you don't see anything. Just rolling hills, mountains in the far distance, rolling hills, sagebrush. I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. You stand there and you realize that everything's just so much bigger than me. It's just, I don't know. It's just a crazy feeling, but I love it out there, and I love the ranchers that I've met out there, the people that live out there. Absolutely some of the best people I've ever met. Salt of the earth. They work together. They are a community. They may not live right next door to each other, right? But there's really not necessarily a town out there. but they all come together as a community, and they will help defend that community, and they will help defend the school, and they help each other out, and they go and they help each other, with their cattle and all that stuff. It's just an absolutely fantastic place. I can't get out there enough, and if any of them are listening, and I do know one of them, he listens, and he told me he's listened to the podcast from day one, and I kind of think I gave him a hard time about being a super fan. Actually, I might have apologized to him. I'm so sorry you've had to endure this for so long. But he really he enjoys the podcast, and he was out there in class, and we just had an absolute great time. And I'm so thankful that they called me again, and I'm just honored that they called me again to have me go out there and give this class. I almost hate to say this, but I'd almost do it. Well, my wife would get mad, but I'd almost do it for free. I just love going out there. I love chatting with those folks. We did the classroom portion. We did the shooting portion. Then afterwards, those that wanted to leave left, and like a handful of us stayed out there for like another hour shooting guns. Just shooting guns. Class was over. They got their certificates. They had paid. They helped me clean up. We left a few tables, a few targets out, and they just stood out there, and we just talked. Right? We just talked, bullshitted a little bit, and we stood there and we just shot each other's guns and laughed and cracked jokes and had a good time, and it was just absolutely fun. And after that, I headed back over to the school where the teachers were waiting for me, and went ahead and did the walkthrough with them and talked to them about what they could and should and can't and could and would and were going to do out there if something ever happened. Got done with that, and then I stood there and talked to both the teachers for like another hour. Absolutely great day, great class, great people. And as I look at those people, and I look at those ranchers and those people that took the class out there, and how self-sufficient they are. You can't just run to town and get what you want every 5 minutes, right? Like if I want a drink from the store here, I'll just go up there and buy something to drink. I'll get a bag of chips, whatever. It's all just right there. And how self-sufficient and hardworking these people are. And, then there's lots of us out there, and lots of us in this country that are like that. And we don't necessarily have to go live in the sticks to be like that. But I mean, those are the people, right? Those are the people that are going to, if something bad would happen, those are the people that are going to survive. They're going to survive. They're going to work hard. They're going to help each other out. They're going to help their neighbors. Fantastic, just hardworking, God-fearing people. And like I said, I feel blessed and honored that they would. I keep saying that, but it's so true. It was so awesome out there. I love going out there. I absolutely love it. And I love all my classes. I enjoy everyone I meet. It was just going out to a place that kind of has my heart, that always has since I've moved here. Something just beautiful about the high desert. Even though there's not a lot of trees everywhere, there's a lot of sagebrush, a lot of cheatgrass, but I just enjoy the heck out of it. I really, 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 really do. I will say that the guy that helped me, so James, or I think we call him Magnum, whatever we call him nowadays, he helped me with the class, and he went ahead and just went out there for the whole thing. Because I think he wanted to make sure he was going to get there, right? It's a reach to get there, and he didn't want to get lost, so he went out with me. And kind of sat through the whole class. And James has never sat through the whole class before. When James first moved to the area, he went and took the classroom portion from another company in town, and then he did the I met James because he took the shooting portion from me. So he'd never actually sat through my classroom portion before. So he was just there hanging out, helping me set up, and he listened to that classroom portion. And I got to say, it's pretty interesting, and I really appreciate the feedback, James, if you're listening to this. I really do, because I know. I totally get it. And he's told me this twice in the last 3 days, because James not only helped me on Saturday, he was here helping me teach open hand combat to my women's group on Thursday night, which was so much fun. We actually dressed up my 16-year-old son and all the gear, all the pads, and those women got to kick the crap out of him and stomp on his feet and all kinds of stuff. Everyone had a great time, and James always does a great job when he teaches that class. Though the women actually, the students, they absolutely love it. And, and he kind of talked to me after that class and said the same thing to me that he did after this class on Saturday. And I'm kind of rambling now, and I apologize, but it's just kind of, it really wasn't even what I planned to talk about, but yet here we are, right? So we're just going to go with it. He said, "Hey, Todd," he goes, and I'm not just saying this about me. I mean, this came from someone that has been helping me in classes and quite a bit. He goes, "Todd, I'm going to give you some criticism." He goes, "You know your stuff. You absolutely know your stuff. And you're a great instructor, and you're great helping people learn and teaching people and bringing people in that are brand new shooters. Maybe they've never shot before. You know your stuff. You're a great instructor, but you can offer so much more, right?" He's like, the only criticism that he has of me and my classes is that I need to market myself more during class. I need to market myself better. And I'll be 100%, and I think we've talked about this before. It's my biggest freaking problem. I spent all day or all evening last night talking to my wife about this. I market myself very poorly. I mean, I don't want to come off being that instructor that is cocky, I just don't want to. You don't want to be cocky and arrogant, right? You don't want to, because I think that turns a lot of people off. But I think you need to be a little cocky and a little bit arrogant, to a certain extent. Not enough to turn people off, but enough that you're not afraid to say, "Hey, look, you like this class. Hey, you should come back and do this class." And I know I need to do that. And I don't know what holds me back necessarily. I feel like, I don't know. There's a lot of people who do a lot of different jobs that listen to this podcast. And so I'm not trying to characterize any job, but I feel like that, and this is just going off of people that I've run into or people that I've dealt with, like in the past, right? I feel like that greasy car salesman. Like I said, I'm not trying to generalize, but there's people like that in every career, every occupation. But I feel like that greasy car salesman, right? I'll be in the middle class, I'll be talking, and I'll be like, "Well, I had the opportunity. Well, we don't learn how to draw the gun in the permit class. We just don't. That's not part of it. But I should, if you want to, I always encourage everyone, you need to keep training. You need to keep training. You need to go shoot 100 rounds a month, shoot 200 rounds a month, shoot 50 rounds a month, shoot 20 rounds a month is better than anything." And what I should be saying is I should say that as well, but I should say, you know what? And there's more than just going to a gravel pit and shooting. Why don't you sign up for some more classes? Why don't you learn how to draw the gun? I've got some classes coming up. I can give you info. There's info sitting on the table. Take it if you want. Why can't I make myself do that? What is it? Why? I can't make myself say that. James is like, "Well, it's really easy. You just make some flyers, you put them on the table." I get it. I totally understand it, and I'm with you. I can't hardly make. That's my biggest problem. I can't market myself. And I'm gonna have to start doing that as the price of things go up. I don't want to jack up the rates on all my classes, or I've already done that a little bit. I don't want to jack up the rate, and I like to be reasonable. I like people to, affordable. Anyone can come and take one of my classes, and they can feel like they're getting a good deal. I don't want to price people out, but I guess I need to start marketing myself better. I don't know what that means. Do I wear a sandwich board at the end of my driveway? Advertising my classes. I don't struggle with this. But I do have, and I guess I'll try to market myself on the microphone here. I do have things that people can do, right? I do have like online training. I got online beginners training, right? Does it cost? Yeah, it costs. But you know what? My big motto is keep everything very reasonable. And I'm going to be so much more reasonable on any of my stuff than probably anyone in the valley to a certain extent. But there is some online beginners type training. There's a whole bunch of drills that you can look at. They're cheap. It's like $5, right? It's like $5 a video. The training is a bit more, but it's like $5 for the extra training type videos, right? But the beginner stuff, I don't know. It's more. I don't remember the exact price. And I'm just started last week, and it should be done in the next week or so. I'm putting on a whole series. It's like a 5 or 6 weeks long, dry fire training class, right? And I'm getting that all put in there, and I'm getting that typed up and making videos. And so you can do that out of the convenience of your own home. You don't have, or your own range or whatever. You don't have to go in a class in front of people. But I do offer lots of other classes as well. You know, I have the podcast. I have the Patreon. I throw stuff up on Patreon. It's not, you know, I kind of shied away from Patreon for just a little bit. Not that I shied away. I got kind of lazy. I got busy doing other stuff. But I'm back at it, and I'll put videos, how-tos. If I see something cool, I think I made some target stands the other day. I was really happy with how they turned out. I've been looking for a decent target stand recipe or plans for quite a bit. I found it. I shared the link. I talked about it. You know, it's just stuff like that on Patreon. Extra videos, extra little podcasts. And the Patreon is cheap. It's like $5 a month. That's super cheap. So get on there. I mean, I would appreciate the support. If you can't do it, I totally understand that. See, and that's me being poor at my marketing skills, I guess. I always feel like okay, let's back this up. And I know, you know, my buddy Henry, he's been on the podcast, and he just look at me and shake his head and roll his eyes. And I know James is too. But I feel like when I market myself, I feel like I'm pushing myself. But I'll be 100% honest. I really am getting tired of getting beat up. And it's not by students. It's like I need to stand up for me and my product more, right? Does that make sense? I need to stand up for me and my product more. I do a radio show, and I'll get just tore apart on the radio show to a certain extent by my co-host, right? He'll one-up, he'll question me. He'll try and make me look bad. And I have a tough time standing up for that because I'm just afraid, right, that I'm going to be made to be the bad guy. I don't even know if I'm that much of a threat to my co-host, but yet it happens all the time, right? And that's on me because I let it happen. I think I need to be more confident. I need to market myself better. I need to stand up for my product a lot better. I think that's my big deal. And honestly, you know, other people in town, other instructors, you know, there's always a little bit of drama every now and then. It flares up every couple years or every 6 months or something like that. And honestly, maybe it's because I'm a little bit of a threat to them. I have no freaking clue. I don't know. Let's just boil this down. My wife helps me, but it's just me. It's me doing all this, and I'm decent. I can instruct. I like to shoot. That's what I love to do. And I guess I kind of just that other stuff I just kind of let go to the wayside. And I'm not blaming anyone but myself. And that's what happens, right? I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to keep up on the podcast, trying to keep up on Patreon. I'm trying to make videos. I'm trying to put stuff on the online training portion of Patriot Defense. There's so much stuff, and I feel like I'm complaining, and I'm not, but I need to figure out how to do it and do it better. And if anyone has any ideas about marketing, by all means, good Lord, let me know. I suck. If you go to a class, how do you find your marketing? Is it just online stuff? Because I post stuff online, right? Is it just word of mouth? If you went and took a class from someone, is it flyers? If I had like a table full of flyers, of references, of whatever, of everything I offer, I actually thought about putting together a few pages, or at least one page that would have, not like the podcast doesn't cost anybody any money, but I like to advertise it. I thought about having on this page like a link or a big scan thing that you can scan, take it right to the podcast, so you could subscribe to it if you want. And another one for my online stuff, you could check out it, make it quick, and easy. They can just take the paper, scan it with their phone, and boom, you're there. That kind of thing. And just have everything on there. That's kind of what I thought about doing the other day. So, after I talked to my buddy, and I, maybe make a stack of those and have them out where people can just take them. Is that a waste? Is that a waste of my time? I'm not worried about wasting a little paper, but is that a waste of my time? I mean, what's the best way to get at people, right? And to tell them, not only tell them about my stuff, but get them to take some other classes. I guess I got to get it in front of people, and I'm not sure the best way to do it. I've tried sending out emails after classes, and that, I've got a couple of responses. I just like in my brain when I'm sending out that email, and it's not just here, come do this, here, come do this. I really had a good time having you in class today. It was a great day. I enjoyed it. I hope you did. I hope you did as well. I enjoy teaching this class. And by the way, these are what my upcoming dates for classes I have. And if you're interested, let me know. Here's a link to this. You can register for this class here. And thanks again. And if there's anything else you might need, let me know. Feel free to get a hold of me. I like to answer questions all the time. And I've gotten like one response, and I've done that. I did that straight for about 6 months. And I got, let's say I average, I don't know, 12 to 20 people in each of my classes, right? Each of my permit classes anyhow. And so I send that out, and I got like one response. That's about it. And I don't know, is that worth it? I always feel like I'm bugging people. I feel like people see that and they send it straight to their trash folder, right? Their junk mail. And I don't know that I want to be the junk mail guy. But I don't know. I don't know what I should do and how I should approach it. But let's get on to something else. I'm sorry I went on and on and on for so long. Sometimes that just happens. But I do have a friend of mine that sends me news stories all the time. And he's got a couple here. This first one that he sent me, I'm opening it up right now. It says Elizabeth Warren wants your credit card company to report you to the government. So we talked about this. We talked about how the left was trying to get the credit card companies and even Joe Biden, all of them, to give them a list and let them know who buys what firearms. They wanted to help keep track of this, right? It says, well, President Joe Biden is declaring MAGA Republicans as fascist members of his own party are actively as fascist Republicans. Members of his own party are actively working to get your credit card company to start tracking you and reporting to the government, because that's not fascist at all. Democratic lawmakers, including Elizabeth Warren and Dianne Feinstein, just sent a letter to the CEO of American Express pressuring the company to start monitoring gun purchases. They essentially want the credit card company to create a special category for gun purchases. Right now, they're categorized as miscellaneous retail stores and use that information to report people to the police. Banks and credit card companies could help law enforcement preempt some mass shootings by identifying suspicious gun purchases and yada, yada, yada. They want to track, they want to know. So if something happens, they say that they can go and they can talk to you about suspicious gun purchases. Like I went and, with someone the other day and they bought a couple handguns and a rifle in the span of like 2 days. They're not doing anyone any harm. And if you would have used your credit card, would they have showed up at that person's house asking questions? I don't know, but that's what they want to do. And interestingly enough, I was sent that article on Friday, and today is Sunday, and I got this article sent to me by the same person. It sounds like they listened to Dianne Feinstein and everyone. So it says Visa, MasterCard, American Express to categorize gun store sales separately. Payment processor Visa announced Saturday its plan to separately categorize gun shop sales, joining MasterCard and American Express, which have already said they would categorize purchases at firearm stores. Visa said it would apply the International Organization for Standardization's new merchant code to gun shop sales. The new iOS code was announced on Friday. Previously, gun store sales were labeled as general merchandise. So there you go. It's kind of almost like a victory to a certain extent. It's how they want to track you. It's how they want to keep track of everything. And they can say that they're just, we're just going to go use it for that mass shooter to kind of find out where he got his guns. Or we're going to go when someone a bell rings, like something we have to go check on this. We don't want anything bad to happen, so we have to check on it. Let's face it. It's part of knowing who has what. It's that little piece. And I talk about this every single podcast. And I stand by this. And I know people might disagree, but I don't know that they're coming door to door. They're going to do a little here, a little there. They're going to tax that ammo. They're going to try to put that, little micro stamp on the firing pin. They tried that, and down in California, they are going to go for magazine bans. They're going to go for assault weapon bans, and now they're going to track every firearm purchase with your credit card. And go figure, the credit card companies have gone along with it. I wonder why. Wonder why the government and big corporations in bed together. Go figure. Who would have saw that coming? Be aware of what's going on. I think we still have that assault weapons. Sorry about that. Allergies. I think we still have that assault weapons ban that they're trying to push through. I don't know that they've actually are going to get it through, but we kind of went away, right? It was here. It made it to a certain point. I think now it's got to go to the House, the Senate. I don't know, up and somewhere and be looked at again. And we were talking about it. Now we're not hearing anything about it. And as far as we know, it hasn't happened yet. So when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Wait for it to go through on a holiday, right before a holiday, right before a 3-day weekend, or right before a weekend. Wait for it to go through late on a Friday night when no one is paying attention to it. That's what they want. They want us to forget about it, to not pay attention, and then all of a sudden do it. That's what they do. That's their MO. That's exactly what they do. But, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this podcast off about right now. I am starting to lose my voice. Like I said, the smoke and everything else, it is much cooler in the war room today because we might be entering fall. I'm not sure. Yes, last week we had like temperatures like 104 down here, like 4 days in a row. It was freaking ridiculous. But I spent this afternoon unloading my wife's truck that I took out to Three Creek for those classes, unloaded all my tables, and I loved going out to Three Creek, but man, what a what a chore that is, right? Folding up tables, loading up tables, unloading all that stuff. I'll probably finish up putting stuff away tomorrow. But anyhow, thank you for listening to the podcast. I'm so sorry. I need to be more regular. I got chastised by like 3 people in the last 2 days a little bit. And I appreciate it. They're friends of mine. They're people I know. And I bring it on, remind me, keep me in line, ask when the podcast is, make me feel bad for not getting it out every weekend. I need that. Keep it up. It makes me get it done. It makes me feel guilty enough that I come out and get it done. So that's what we need. So share this podcast on social media. That's one way you could help market this thing for me, right? Get it out on social media. Share it with your family. Share it with your friends. Make people sign up. They don't even have to listen. They just need to hit the subscribe button. Listens are great. Subscribers are just are good as well. So get them to do that. I would appreciate it. If you want to join the Patreon, I think I put a handful of stuff up there last week, new stuff up there last week. I've got plans for more this week, and it's random stuff. It's like extra little 15-minute podcast of thoughts I had. It's if I find something cool and I want to talk about it. It's to how to build target stands to training videos, right? How to do this. How do I do that? I'm going to dry fire. You're going to check this out, that kind of stuff. That's what we get on there. Just kind of random stuff. And if you want to be a part of it, it's cheap. The link will be in the bottom of the show notes. It's like $5 a month. It's $5 a month. And I tell you what, if you want to get on there, pay the $5, get on there, look at everything I have, and then unsubscribe, whatever, make it so it just costs you $5, look at everything, and you're like, freaking, I'm done. I'm good. And then go ahead and unsubscribe to being a Patreon. Keep your $5. You've just paid once. You looked at it, you're done. I'm cool with that. That's fine with me. Everything helps. I do appreciate it. If you got any comments or questions, you can always call me. You can always text me, area code 620-794-6223. It's area code 620-794-6223. And let me throw this out there, too. If you are a new listener, if you just come across this podcast, I used to receive these all the time, and I haven't received any for quite a little while. But if you're listening to this for the first time or you've been listening for a couple months, shoot me a text. Let me know where you're from. Hey, Todd, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I listen to the podcast. I love it. Hey, Todd, I'm from Australia. I listen to the podcast. I love it. Hey, Todd, I'm from Canada. We don't have the same laws up here, but I listen to your podcast, and I love it. Text me, man. I'll respond to you. You're not just going to send it and not get anything back from me. I will respond to you. Either answer my phone or text messages are always the best. Can't always answer my phone, but I will respond to anything that you send me. You can find Patriot Defense on Facebook. You can find Patriot Defense on TikTok. You can find us on the Instagram. I'm just kind of learning Instagram, kind of learning the whole Reels aspect of it. So if you guys are getting tired of seeing little videos, I'm sorry, but those aren't going to end anytime soon. I think they're cool, and I like them, so I'm going to keep it up. But just find us on all the socials. It would be much appreciated, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.